Good afternoon, welcome to Belfast. It's the end of March, it's coming up to Easter, and we're here to talk to you, would you believe, about Linn gear. Look, Linn is all around, here it is. And we set this out to talk a little bit about Linn and where they're going, because this week they've announced new Organic Dac Architecture for a streamer, which will be their top end streamer. Way above anything else they've ever done, both in performance, they say, and in price, definitely. We haven't got one yet, so this is an advance video to tell you what's going on with this, and hopefully we'll have one in the next week or two, if I can scrape together a few pennies to pay for one, and then we can actually show you one. In the meantime, the guys will be cutting in images of what it's going to look like, and I am going to tell you a little bit about where it's come from and why it's so special. Also, when we're setting this out, I was thinking, wow, look at all this stuff. There's a great story here, and I've spent an hour setting it out. So we're going to do two videos today. One is just into organic, and then the other one is the book of Linn, the history of Linn, and why they're such an amazing company. So, to go towards organic, we've got to start with Linn getting into digital. So obviously they started with turntables and analog and things like that. And through the 1980s, CD became more and more popular. And so they first of all got into CD players. This is the first CD player they ever made, called a Carrick. And there are a couple of things about that. Linn come from an engineering background, engineering all of this themselves and controlling that. So whenever they got to this, they started not only with the highest performance DACs and a separate digital analog converter and a separate box. They started machining all the mechanism from solid themselves. So, sorry if I step out. When you look at that, don't try this at home, folks. This is lifting your CD player by the tray, because everyone else's trays were made of cheap plastic that they bought off Philips or somebody, and Linn one was machined from solid. Absolutely fantastic piece of engineering. And from there, they also went into then streaming at a later stage. And they were very unusual, this, because whenever their streamers that they're working at in-house became better than their CD players, and their CD players went through 3, 4, 5 different iterations over a period of 15 or 20 years, they then just said, well, look, we're just going to make streamers now because they're better. Why would anybody have a CD player? Of course, most other companies would have another 10 years of selling CD players, but Linn stole a march on everybody with this. And the streamers that they had were in a thing called the Magic range, one of the most popular ranges, the Accurate range, which is one of the ones over here, and the Select range, which is here, and then the top of the range is this one, which is called a Klimax DSM. And the Klimax DSM features a case that looks really dainty and a gorgeous, clever design, but it's actually machined from solid in-house in Glasgow, again, keeping it within their control, with the highest quality of digital analog converters and a system called Catalyst, which is their top digital analog converter until now. And the Klimax, that with a preamplifier built in, is pretty high-end. It's £15,800. But for that, you get me to come to your house and deliver it. So, you know, it's a bargain. How do you improve on something like that you've been making for a few years? Well, organic is a different type of architecture for a digital to analog converter altogether. It's a thing called FPGA. And this is where I get to say things and look clever as if I know what they mean when I don't really. This is a field programmable gate array. Okay, right, you up with that then? So what this means is if you've got a central processing unit, so in some of these things, you would have a big chip to process things. Big chips. They can do as many calculations as they can do. And that's it. They can't go any faster than what they can do. So your computer from a few years ago, the CPU is not nearly fast enough for all the internet stuff and all the stuff we're doing. But this, made in-house in Glasgow, again, keeping it under control themselves, not farming it out to get it made by a third party, But whenever they do this, you find that they've got the fastest chips they can have, but they can't go that bit faster. So the stage that goes beyond that is the FPGA, where you've got separate components, and these separate components can be much, much faster. Now, whenever you get to how fast these things go, I mean, obviously these things go in, tenths, thousands, whatever, millions of seconds. The new FPGA Organic Dac Architecture, you measure the response time in femtoseconds. You see, I get to say things that nobody has a clue what they are. I could have made that up. You have no idea. Anyway, a femtosecond is a millionth of a billionth of a second. And if you take what a millionth of a second to a second is in ratio, and you take a second to the next ratio up in femtoseconds ratio, it's 1 second to 31 million years. All of this means nothing unless it sounds fantastic, but it's really good crack to have this kind of information. Also, the thing about having something in femtoseconds is that the actual length of the signal path and the distance between these components actually becomes an issue. Because timing issues in these things, well, that's what we're talking about, measuring timing issues so that music can be precise and stop and start at the right time. And if you've got DACs working at these kind of speeds, the length of circuit board makes a difference. So that for that, Linn have designed a circuit board on a top and bottom level where the two channels are identical and the circuit distances are identical on the two levels. So the left and right channels can be perfectly matched the whole way through. That's why they need to be able to make all this stuff in-house to control this themselves, because this is stuff nobody else has ever done. So the proof of the pudding is in the listening. We'll have a few photographs of this interspersed so you can have an idea what this is going to look like. But the other thing I should tell you is how much it's going to cost, because everybody's going to be interested in that. Because the top-end Linn stuff, they make their own cases. The Klimax machine from solid. Obviously, the new Klimax 2021 version is also machined from solid. The case is beautiful. It's got a crown on the top of it like this. There's like a jeweled finish on it. It looks magnificent. Only one little tiny, tiny drawback is that it's going to cost, in the UK, £30,000. Shall I say that again? £30,000. However, those nice people at Linn are going to set up that if you've got something like a Linn Klimax, they will actually give you a trade-in in that so that you will actually get it for a mere £23,000. Now that's actually, when you think about it, if you're trading in a piece of Linn gear against that, that's actually could be a pretty good deal, except £23,000 is still a lot of money. That's why I made a crack at the beginning about having a listen to this, because most people think that poor hi-fi dealers like myself just get given this stuff. Well, actually we have to buy it, and the shop's closed, so we can't even demonstrate it, except to you on YouTube. And so it means that I'm sitting here going, yeah, so I have to spend 30 grand and I can't even really get to sell them because I can't really demonstrate them. Anyway, we've ordered one for you, so it'll be in here in a couple of weeks' time. We'll do another video. We'll show you the actual piece of gear, and we'll take it from there. So please subscribe to this video. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you shortly in the next one, where I will look exactly the same, in the same shirt, with the same set, and we'll talk through what all of these different components are and what they do. Thank you for watching. Be safe.